AZ Printing Solutions, formerly Hankered Sportswear, is a full-service print shop that specializes in screen printing, digital printing, and embroidery. They pride themselves on giving a great product at a great value. The area's go-to printing solution offers a 100% guarantee to exceed your expectations. AZ Printing Solutions has your favorite local spiritware as well as many other apparel items in stock. Specialty items are available for family, sports, business, and charity events. Call 989-725-2979 or stop into the store in downtown Owasso.
The Wash of Owasso is excited to welcome you to their new and state-of-the-art full-service laundromat, conveniently located at 809 West Main Street in historic Westtown, Owasso. They're open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the coin laundry, or you can drop off your laundry for wash and fold service Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. Too busy to stop in? No problem, as the Wash of Owasso will pick up your laundry right at your door and will deliver it back to you the next day. Go online to thewashofowasso.com. That's thewashofowasso.com to view pricing or call 989-472-3322 and schedule your pickup. As a special 3-point podcast bonus, enter code 3PP, that's the number 3 and 2 Ps, at checkout for 10% off your first order. The 3-point podcast team welcomes the Wash of Owasso to our team.
Nelson House Funeral Home's #1 goal is to serve the families in our area. The Nelson House staff are proud to serve our local community with reliability, integrity, and compassion. Unique service representing unique lives, ensuring your loved ones receive the honor and celebration they deserve. Founded in 1880 and continuing the tradition today with chapels in Owasso, Chesaning, and New Lothrop. For more details, find them at nelson-house.com or call 989-723-5234. All right, guys. I mean, we've seen this before in other sports, the AFL against the NFL, the ABA and the NBA, but now it has come to golf. And man, the LIV, backed by the Saudis, has come out in a big way when it comes to the money. And I don't know how it's going to end up, but it looks like it is definitely going to be a civil war.
It's a joke, man. I mean, Phil Mickelson, over the course, he went from one of my favorite golfers to literally one of my least favorite people maybe on this planet, man. And here's my problem with it. And it's LIV. Like this league is not going to work in terms of it's not advancing golf. They try to act like this is the new evolution of golf. And, it is kind of like interesting that they do this, the shotgun start. Maybe the PGA Tour should adopt that for like a John Deere Classic or something like that, just to switch it up every once in a while. But this league is 100% money driven. And the players are embarrassed to admit that. And, if they just came out and said, like, hey, I'm just doing this because they're paying me more money than I could possibly deny. I mean, if I was especially if I was like a young and up and coming player, if they're paying me, 3 times as much as I'm going to make probably over the course of the next 3 years just to join this league, I mean, why would you not do it? So I don't necessarily blame the players. It does seem a little bit selfish. And it's not so much that I get mad at the players that left. Like, I love DeChambeau. That doesn't really change my opinion. I just applaud the guys that stayed because they turned down the money. I mean, Tiger Woods is rumored that they were going to pay him $750 million to join this league.
Before even playing a tournament.
Yeah. And so I guess that basically just makes it made me a bigger fan of Jordan Spieth, maybe a bigger fan of Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, the guys who are really outspoken against this because, hey, they must have some pretty damn good morals if it doesn't take any amount of money to really sway them to join. And what's sad about this LIV league is they're not even trying to act like they're some legit league, man. Basically, it's from what I've heard is that, and I don't know how true this is, but the rumor I've heard is that this is basically Saudi Arabia's way to kind of reach back out to the rest of the world, kind of show like, oh, we're not just that money, like really elite of the people like that are super rich type of, country. Like, we're a good country. And you look at all these players from America and all over the world that are coming to play here in Saudi Arabia. Like, I think it's more that driven than it is like, hey, let's make a great golf league. And that's my biggest problem with it is it looks like it was slapped together. It looks like some softball league that Ted and his buddies slapped together over a thing of beers on a Sunday night. Like, it's just, that's my only problem with it. It just, there's no real substance to it.
You brought up the AFL and USFL and all these other football leagues that have tried to compete with the NFL and have all failed. XFL, all of these leagues have failed. the one thing that to me is one reason why a lot of those leagues have failed. Well, one, NFL is just king, but also like there was never any stars in those leagues. When you would think about, do I want to watch these games? You're like, I don't know any of these players because all of the good players are in the NFL. I think that's one way that the LIV could actually have some staying power because they are getting some big names to go to the league. And if that continues, people want to watch. I mean, Jared, you just kind of mentioned it. People want to watch DeChambeau and, even Phil, as whatever he's gone through the last year or whatever. People want to watch Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, some of these guys. If some more stars go to that league, I think maybe it could sit around. The money thing's never going to be an issue because we know how deep the pockets are of the people who are running the league. And that's where I don't know enough about it. I've watched some videos and, from some people who work for like Golf Channel, Golf Digest, and some other stuff, read some articles and stuff like that. One of my good buddies, John Strine, he's a Corona alum. He is huge into golf. He does some work for Golf Digest or Golf Weekly or something, rating courses. He plays all over the country, just plays a ton of golf. He is very, very against the LIV. And so I've been asking him some questions too. The big thing with it is the moral part. Where is this money coming from? And the people who are running, I get what you're saying, Jared. If you're kind of like struggling a little bit, maybe like DeChambeau hasn't really won as many tournaments as people thought. And they're like, boom, here's 200 mil. How can you turn that down? How, like, you know what I mean? Like, here's 200 mil. Phil Mickelson is all this gambling debt. And they're like, we're going to pay you $400 million or whatever he got. How are you going to turn that down? It's the moral part of it that it's like, where is this money coming from? Because that's exactly what the Saudis are trying to do. Sports washing. They're trying to use sports. They're trying to use golf as a way, like you said, to show the rest of the world, look at us. We're not the ones who execute journalists, and we're not the one who do this kind of stuff. We're actually good people. We want to grow the game of golf. And it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like you guys you're getting dirty money. It's like you're getting money from drug
blood
deals
money
is basically what you're doing. Yeah, blood money.
It's
I mean, how many people forget already? I think the majority of the attackers on 9/11 were Saudis, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And Jared, your point is very well taken. Everybody that's on this tour, how can they not just say, I'm playing for the money? Schwartzel, what do you got? 4.75 million for winning that stupid 54-hole tournament?
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, and that's like if and Phil Mickelson, you're maybe going to win one tournament the rest of your life at the PGA.
Right.
Go take the 200 mil. Get the hell out of here. It's sad for the PGA Tour because I really do think they do a good job. And it just seems like this league does not care about making money. It's like they're the Joker, money does not drive them.
Matter.
It does not matter to them. It's all about image. And how do you compete with that? If you're the PGA Tour, NFL is huge. Imagine if the NFL just like had a competitor like this that had an empty pocketbook. Right. The NFL probably all the guys would leave probably. So
yeah, like think about like a Baker Mayfield. If another league was like, hey, we're going to give you what the Browns just paid Deshaun Watson. Come play in our league, Baker, and we'll give you that contract. He would go over there probably in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, here's the old man perspective. I'll just, Matt, you brought up some of the failed leagues like the USFL and all these others, World Football League. But, I remember the AFL. It was the AFL. They signed Joe Namath to a mega contract. It was a huge contract at the time, $400,000. All of a sudden, these players coming out of college we're considering the AFL. And the other thing that's very similar to the Saudi situation with the deep pockets, they can throw all kinds of money around. The owners in the AFL, they were big rollers, man. They had the dough. And that's why they forced the NFL to merge. A lot of people forget that. There were two leagues and they merged together. And that's where the NFL is now, as strong as it is.
It's terrible, man. It's not good for golf. It's a fun little topic to talk about for a few weeks, but give this 6 months. Like, wow, the PGA Tour just lost half their star power. The LIV, it's fun to watch it kind of as a gag, but these tournaments mean nothing. I didn't even know who won it. Who even cares? It's kind of an interesting little like litmus test.
Yeah.
Of how it's just a funny little thing of like people's morals or where they stand. Like what do they think is wrong? What do they think is right? And it's like basically what, like a third of the tour, kind of, or maybe not a third, but probably 25% of the tour left. Like, hey, if this money was thrown on the table, say there's an illegal podcast, probably one of us is probably jumping ship. Is basically what those numbers are telling us.
I never will, so that must mean Matt.
So I guess maybe it's me that's running, but it's just kind of like, and like I said, I don't fault the guys for leaving. It's a no brainer, really, in a way. But it just, like I said at the very start, just makes you appreciate the guys that did stay. And PGA Tour, it almost speaks. Do you think that there'd be these allegiance in the NFL? I don't think there would be. If, let's say this exact same thing happened in the NFL, I think they're all leaving. NBA, maybe a little bit more so. MLB, they have no allegiance. They almost didn't even play this season. So I guess that's almost like a positive. The PGA Tour, it's like, man, you guys, for the most part, stayed pretty well intact.
Right. Yeah, NFL probably not, just because of their contracts aren't guaranteed. So like I said, if another league was offering someone $200 million guaranteed to come play, they would probably take that immediately, So I'll be curious to see. The big thing they did get, they have a streaming deal with YouTube. That's always a big thing, like where people wonder, where can I even watch this thing? Mm-hmm. So they have a streaming deal. I'll be curious to see, like, if they ever land on a major network, if CBS or ESPN or NBC ever hops on, that's where maybe they could, get a little more staying power. I don't know if any of the major networks are going to jump in on that anytime soon, just because of all the dirty stuff that's going on. They might kind of be like, we'll show highlights and we'll talk about it, but we're not going to broadcast, these tournaments right now. So, but if some of these up and comers, if some of the, like DeChambeau's one of them, and Dustin Johnson, he has kind of fallen off a little bit, but if some of these up and coming rising stars in the PGA jump over there, they could. But
I mean, DeChambeau, that's a huge loss. I'm probably number 2 on the PGA roster. Everybody knows who that guy is. You either love him or you hate him. I mean, that's a big blow. Yeah. I think if everyone else left but him, that no one even gives a shit at all about this. I mean, Dustin Johnson, pretty big deal, but Bryson, I feel like, is the one guy who really had like some sway when he left. It's like, whoa, this is actually kind of a big deal.
Yeah, well, you two guys are probably more expert on this than me, and I just want your opinion. What do you think's going to happen? What is your prediction down the road? PGA outlast them? You think the LIV is going to force their hand, and you're going to get a bunch of people going? How do you think it's all going to turn out? I heard an
interesting comparison on, I don't remember what the podcast was to. This league is almost like what the Athletic did with newspapers and journalists. Basically, we're going to pay you way more than a newspaper can pay you. We're going to poach you. You're going to come. We're going to pay unbelievable salaries. People, how the hell are they even making money off of this thing? And now they're kind of struggling. I just don't know. It's like, unless this money is truly unlimited, which maybe it isn't. I don't know how Saudi Arabia works, man. Maybe this money really is unlimited.
See how much gas is right now?
They'll cast it as like a success, and I guess it is. But it's just, I don't know how it could literally actually make money. That's what with the YouTube streaming service, that ain't going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to start having tournaments in the U.S., so that would help, if they get spectators and stuff like that. And if
sponsors,
if, some of these, but same thing, like what sponsors? Is Coca-Cola, right? Is Pepsi going to want to jump on with this league, run by the Saudis? I don't know about that. So I guess as far as a prediction, I think it's going to stick around for a little while because of the amount of money they have. They're going to keep doing it. They signed Phil. They signed some of these other guys for however many years is in their contract. So it'll stick around. I think the big thing will be, will players like a Bryson DeChambeau, if all of a sudden he can't play in the Masters, if he can't play in the Open Championship, if he can't play in the PGA Championship, the Ryder Cup's a big deal. That's where some players might start to be like, hey, you know what? I want to play in the Ryder Cup, and so I'm going to stay in the PGA. That's where I think it might fall off. If it's a bunch of schmoes like us three playing in the LIV, then no one's going to watch that garbage.
Well, so they can play. Currently, they can play in the British, the US, and the Masters. Right? They can't play in the PGA Championship.
Right.
Maybe it wouldn't have any weight behind it, but what if the PGA Tour just said, you know what, we're going to make another major. It's going to be at, the Players Championship or whatever, and you guys can't play in this.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe the gravitas behind that, it wouldn't be there, but if it was a couple years ago, people would definitely loved it and jumped on board. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe just another kind of twist of the knife to those LIV guys. Give them another major that they can't play in.
Well, stay tuned. And, as I've always said, and it's so true, you know, that greed is the root of all evil. We see it
is,
in
man.
politicians. We see it everywhere. Corporate leadership are all greedy, and this is just a greed league too. And let's see how it all shakes out, and maybe saner minds, you know, we'll get it together. We'll see.
I'm stuck on this topic. Do you guys fault the players that left? If you honestly had to say, are you bothered by the fact that they left, or do you 100% see why? It's hard for me to get mad at them. It's just more of their response, you know.
Right.
And clearly they're probably getting told by some PR guy, like, don't say that, obviously,
Right.
that you're only coming here for money. But it's just weird.
I think, you know, both ways. I'm never going to fault someone for expanding their pocketbook and, you know, looking out for themselves and the best of their families. If they can go get another job that pays more and they think that it's going to make them happy, that's your life. It's not my life, you know. But like you've said before, Ted, you had opportunities to go elsewhere and maybe make a little more money or something like that in broadcasting, you know, when you were a little younger and stuff like that. But you loved what you're doing, you know, Corona Wasso, and you stuck around and you're happy. So I think a big thing, and you built like a legacy for yourself. That was one thing that Tiger Woods said. Obviously, Tiger doesn't need any money, but he talked about the legacy. I think that's something, again, that might hurt the LIV. Some of these dudes, I keep bringing up Bryson, even Dustin Johnson, some of these other younger guys. Legacy in golf is a big deal. I mean, that's all you have in golf. What tournaments have you won? How many majors have you won? And if some of these guys run away, they're making $200 million. That's great. You've got generational money now, 5 generations of your family all set. But if no one even knows who you are, you know, then it's like, are you even happy? You're playing in these tournaments that no one even knows about. Yeah, you can go play the US Open and people are like, oh yeah, that guy, I remember him. But you're finishing T40. You know, it's like, who really cares about it? So I don't know. So no, do I fault them? No, I mean, you do what you want. It's your life, but
I just want you to save that soundbite where you sort of compared me to Tiger Woods. I want to hear that again.
I mean, look at that backdrop in your man cave. Look at all those trophies back there and the
glory
framed jerseys and
days.
stuff.
And one thing that is also kind of funny about it is that all the guys that left were kind of villains. Sergio, Bryson, Patrick Reed. That's kind of just funny. It's like they formed the, you know, there's the Avengers, then there's the a Suicide Squad or something. It's just kind of a funny little comparison that it shook out that way.
Yeah.
I will say you brought up The Athletic, and I've seen multiple times. There's been when NBC Sports started in Stamford, Connecticut, when FS1, when Fox Sports 1 started, you know, out in LA. I was at ESPN, and they exactly what you said, Jared. They were promising all these people working in TV, we're going to pay you more than ESPN. Come live in Stamford, Connecticut. Come and live out in LA, and you know you're not going to be working those ESPN hours. We're going to pay you a little more. Stole a ton of ESPN people. Grass isn't always greener because a lot of times a year or two later, those people were begging for a job back at ESPN because, you know, maybe certain things weren't the same. Maybe the support from management or, you know, other things, the job wasn't as secure. So, you know, that paycheck, $200 million, that's, you know, hard to turn down from those Saudis. But, you know, once you start playing in it, it might not be the same. The PGA is pretty cushy. The PGA Tour is pretty nice.
Yeah. You know, just the final thought from me on do I blame the players? You know, these fringe players, not at all. I mean, and like you said, if they're supporting their family and they're trying to better themselves, yes. But what in the hell? Phil Mickelson doesn't have to worry about the money other than the fact that he's probably far more in gambling debt than we even realize. You know, some of the stories I've heard, it's just astronomical. He's maybe should be going to Gamblers Anonymous from what I'm hearing.
Who knows? Maybe he's in debt with some of the Saudis. Maybe he had to go play there.
Maybe, you know, we're spreading that rumor here on 3 Point Podcast.
Memorial Healthcare is proud and excited to open their new $40 million plus neurology, orthopedic, and community wellness center, now called the Now Building. The 15,000 square foot facility features the highest quality, most sensitive 3T MRI available on today's market. The 3-story building provides area residents a medically based wellness center featuring nutritional, counseling, and group fitness classes, among other offerings. Memorial Healthcare's new wellness center includes locker rooms, private showers, steam rooms, a sauna, a lap pool, and more, including a raised track for walking and running with views of the entire Memorial campus and surrounding area. Memorial Healthcare strives to bring healthcare and wellness together, servicing patients' needs from diagnosis to treatment to rehab and beyond. For more details, go online at memorialhealthcare.org or call 989-720-CARE. That's 989-720-2273.